Hi, this is Steve Morgan at Transplant in Texas, out here on the farm in the middle of Kansas, and you're listening to Bad Dog Agility, where the naughty dogs train.
I'm Esteban.
And I'm Sarah, and this is episode 4.
Let's get straight to this week's training tip.
Which is?
Keep your training sessions short.
That's kind of hard to say. Keep your training sessions short. That's a lot of S's.
That is a lot of S's. Maybe we should phrase it a different way. How about keep your
training short?
There you go.
So our training topic is keep your training short.
I think the big advantage of keeping your training short is that your dog can remain in a very high drive, intense, focused state. And they can't really do that for a long period of time. So it's really hard to show up in an agility class and go an entire hour with the kind of focus and intensity that you really want to see in an agility dog.
That's true. And I think really when people say keep your training short, a lot of times what they mean is to keep it intense and to keep your dog's focus on you. So it's not just a matter of the length of time. It's also a matter of keeping that intensity up for the entire session. And that means to be prepared before you go out so that you are ready to go as soon as you bring your dog out. Get your training plan ready, know what you're going to do, get your treats ready, and then get your dog so that the training period with your dog is short.
From the time you get your dog out of your crate, you should be on the go. Your dog should either be working or they should be getting some kind of reinforcement, either through play, tug, food, all the way back until you get them into their crate or their area.
I think one of the hard things about keeping your training short is for people like us who perhaps have full-time jobs and aren't home during the day to train their dog. When we get home, all the time we have is all together in one block. And so we really don't have the opportunity to have 10 5-minute sessions spread throughout the day because we're just not there to do it. But I think that you'll find you will actually get more out of one 10-minute session than you would have gotten out of one 30-minute session.
You never know how many minutes is too many. Every dog is different. You might take one dog and you do 3 repetitions and that dog is spent and they need to be put away. You've got another dog and they may be able to go 15, 20 minutes.
But I think our training tip for today is when in doubt, keep it short, keep it focused, keep it intense.
That's right. You don't want to fall victim to the one more repetition syndrome. That hits me all the time. I always want to get in just one more repetition. The very next repetition, this is going to be the one that's perfect. This is the one that's going to be flawless. More often than not, it's not a good rep.
Backfires. Completely
totally backfires. Dog goes off course. Your cue is late. They drop a bar. And after that rep, of course, the dog's really tired and they wander off and they go look for some water or go hide under the A-frame, look for some shade. So you've lost the opportunity to end this session on a high note.
That's right.
Something that's helped me instead of focusing on a period of time is I like to focus on a number of repetitions. So if I know I'm working a particular drill or sequence, I'll predetermine my entire session so that I'll say, for example, if I'm doing 2 jumps, repetition number 1, I will have the dog on my left. Repetition number 2, dog will be on the right. Repetition number 3, I'll execute a front cross. If that goes well, I'll front cross from the other side. That'll be repetition number 4. And I also will even plan in the mistakes. So let's say repetition number 1, the dog turns wide. Well, instead of moving on to the other side, I may repeat that repetition.
And you get a couple of benefits from doing that level of planning. In addition to keeping your training short, you're also keeping the space between repetitions short because you've already determined what you're going to do next. There's no downtime while you try to decide what that next rep is going to be. It's just go, 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 put the dog away.
Exactly, and I think that's the best way. You get your dog out, you get them ready, someone's holding them, you immediately go into your first, second, third, fourth repetitions. Your entire session is usually going to be 10 repetitions or less. Every time they finish a sequence, you're immediately giving them their reward. You're taking them, tugging them back to the start line. You immediately go into the next repetition because you planned everything out in advance. So you don't need to sit there and think about it. You already know what to do when they make a mistake. You know how you're going to advance the drill if they do it correctly. And you can get all 10 repetitions done. Let's say it's only, 20 seconds of repetition. you're going to be done in just 3 or 4 minutes.
So that's what we mean by keeping it short.
Today's agility topic, dog agility as a spectator sport. Now, I've always said I can watch agility on TV, and I really miss the days when it was on TV. You know, when I first started in the sport all those years ago, I saw it on TV on Animal Planet, and I wanted to be on Animal Planet. My ultimate goal in agility was not to be a national champion. It was to be on Animal Planet.
In fact, that is what got us started in agility. I remember seeing it on TV, thinking it was the coolest thing ever, showing up at my local training club for puppy obedience, seeing that they had equipment, and finding out that anybody could take agility class. Of course, at the time, we just thought it was a 6-week class and we'd be off and running.
I've got to tell you that the highlight of my agility career was going upstairs at the AKC Invitational and sitting down for my interview with Animal Planet. And they interview you for like 20 minutes, and they use about 30 seconds of that interview, and you don't even remember what question they asked that you're answering.
Well, they never know who's going to be in the top 3 or going to win it all, so they kind of have to get a lot of footage of everybody and then choose what they're going to use later.
I think we'd put in a very good first 2 rounds, and we were on the leaderboard, and so they asked us to do an interview, and we did the interview. And then I remember dropping a bar in round 3 and just being devastated, not because I wasn't going to be in the finals, but because they probably weren't going to use that footage, and I wasn't going to be on Animal Planet.
I remember you shaving in anticipation of perhaps being on Animal Planet.
Wait, I think I planned to shave, but I was a little superstitious. So at the last second, I decided not to shave.
We'll have to dig out the footage. I think you might be right.
But in any case, agility is a fantastic spectator sport, and watching it on TV was a real big draw for us, and I really miss those days. You know, they used to have the great outdoor games on ESPN. I didn't enjoy that quite as much as the AKC Invitational, but it was always fun to watch that as well. And now you don't really have any of that.
Well, even before the Invitational, the Nationals was on TV. That's what we used to watch.
Oh, that's right. And you could see people you know on TV. And it was a fantastic goal. In fact, I think a lot of the reason that we associate so much prestige with Nationals is because that's what was on TV.
Now, the only way to be famous in agility is to be featured on this podcast.
That's right. So remember to call in. Well, you know, we just had the IFCS World Championships in Dallas, and even though we live in Houston and Dallas is just about 3.5 hours away, we didn't make the trip. Apparently, not many spectators really showed up for the events. In the videos that I saw online of the competitors who were there, you look in the stands and they seem mostly empty. I think you do lose a little bit of that atmosphere when the spectating crowd is small rather than large. And that's one of the great things I love about the big national events. When you have a challenge round at AKC Nationals and the finals, everybody's watching. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of cheering. You get that real stadium gladiator feel. It's a real adrenaline rush, and I love it.
Do you think that the fact that it was so close on the heels of the AKC World Team tryouts had anything to do with it? Or is that just our reason for not going?
I'm not sure. I think that a lot of countries did not send teams this year for a variety of reasons. There wasn't anyone from France or Germany, Sweden, Finland, a lot of the countries you'd think of as having top agility competitors. And, you know, that's a little disappointing. All I'm saying is that part of agility from the very start has been the fact that it's a spectator sport. Not just a sport for the handler and the dog, but for people to come out and watch, even if they don't have a dog, even if they've never heard of agility. It's fun. And 2 great examples of this. I'll give you the first one, and that's the Reliant Dog Show, formerly the Astro Hall series here in Houston, Texas. Big show, lots of spectators, people pay to get in. They run it in conjunction with Confirmation. They also have Frisbee dogs, Obedience, Flyball. It's just a madhouse of dog. And the crowds that gather around the agility ring are big and loud. And there's kids and there's people and there's food.
There's hot dogs.
That's right, there's hot dogs. Hot dogs that your dog can smell when they're on the table in the corner of the ring. It can be an intimidating environment for some dogs, and you might not want to show your very first trial there, you know, for your novice dog. But it's a great environment and one of my favorite shows of the year because of the venue and because of the spectators. My second example is Crufts. I've never been there in person, and all I've seen are the videos and the live feeds, but that place looks packed, and they've got an announcer. That guy's in a suit. He's standing right there. He's making his comments, speaking his crazy English, and it just looks like a really tremendous event and something that would be a lot of fun, and I wish we had a little more of that here in the United States.
By crazy English, I assume you just mean English.
Yeah, he basically spoke English with an accent. What can I say? I'm an American.
That's very clear.
And that's all for this week's agility topic. Visit us at baddogagility.com and look for the big orange button on the right-hand side if you're interested in introducing our podcast.
We also have plenty of training articles, and we would love to hear your comments.
And sign up for our free newsletter on our site so you never miss an article.
Happy training!